this, there is a secret group of puppet masters who are always watching the citizens of Bikini Bottom and pulling the strings. Hidden within Bikini Bottom are
Theory
spies
Part
that
2.
keep an eye on the characters and make sure everything goes to plan.
Number
This
2.
is a conspiracy that will fundamentally change the way you look at the show SpongeBob SquarePants, and I believe it's all actually intended by the creators, and I'm gonna prove it. This is the television theory. You guys had a great reaction to my Squilliam Fancyson theory, and I had a lot of fun making it. When I say that what I've discovered this time is much, much bigger. To start this theory, we have to go back to the very beginning of the very first episode of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Ah, the sea. So fascinating. So wonderful. Here we see Bikini Bottom, teeming with life. Home of one of my favorite creatures, SpongeBob SquarePants. Yes, of course he lives in a pineapple, you silly.
So let me ask you a question. Who's speaking in this clip?
Narrator.
Well, obviously that's just the narrator. We hear his voice many times throughout the show.
Ah, Goo Lagoon. A stinky mud puddle for you and me. Ah, the crusty crab. Through these doors pass all the many kinds of undersea life. Pop's boating school, where diligent students learn the rules of the road.
But who exactly is the narrator? Well, he's just the narrator, right? We're not supposed to think about who he is or why we're hearing him. Lots of shows have narrator framing devices we're not supposed to think about.
Caillou was amazed that Mommy had made a rainbow, just like in the picture.
But there's something different about this narrator. He sounds a lot like he's narrating a nature documentary.
The ocean. From above, a simple blanket of water. But below, a complex world full of color,
That's very
life,
cool.
and wonder.
Ah, the sea. So fascinating. So wonderful. Here we see Bikini Bottom, teeming with life.
What if I told you that he's not just some random disembodied voice? He's an actual character in this universe.
Here we are again at the Bikini Bottom Boating School. Today is once again the day of SpongeBob's boating school exam. But more importantly, this is the last test for the year. And if SpongeBob does not pass this one, it means another whole year of boating school!
SpongeBob literally crashes into the fourth wall, and we actually get to see the narrator and the camera he's been filming with. The show SpongeBob SquarePants is not just a cartoon. Everything we see is a part of a nature documentary television show being filmed by scuba divers. And if you're still not convinced, I searcred really, really hard and found an old SpongeBob DVD bonus feature that basically confirms everything.
Since before time even existed, land-loving scientists have tried to learn the secrets of intelligence. Their studies led them to the sea, where the citizens of one undersea colony demonstrated a genius so enormous, the scientists felt compelled to record their actions for use in teaching mankind how to live better. The name of this miraculous place? Bikini Bottom. Poring over the mass of brainy masterminds scattered about this strange land, the scientists chose 6 Bikini Bottom residents at random to study. As the scientists marveled at the advanced knowledge and superior intellect of these 6 creatures, I went to college! They rolled their cameras and took notes. And now, finally, we can learn all of the things that these smarty pantsuses have to teach us. Life lessons from Bikini Bottom.
I don't know how it can get any more clear than that. Now, if you rewatch the show with this new information in mind, some things start to take on a whole new meaning. Throughout the series, there's this weird, unexplained running gag of a human hand interfering with the characters. It's even in the beginning of every episode in the intro for the show. Maybe the filmmakers are doing a bit more than just studying these characters. The hand seems to mostly interfere just to maintain the health and safety of the characters, like treating SpongeBob for the suds.
Well, Mr. SquarePants, it seems you have the suds. Are you ready for your treatment? Oh, Hans!
It makes sense that the filmmakers wouldn't want to risk the safety of their main character. After all, there's no show without SpongeBob, but
Yeah,
that's
very
not
true.
the only reason why they interfere. Season 3, Episode 16, I Had an Accident, is
Well, I
infamous for
remember
having
this
one of the
one.
most absurd, confusing endings in the entire show. It ends with a real gorilla suddenly coming out of a Patrick costume and attacking the characters.
A real gorilla? Huh?
Then as soon as SpongeBob begins to question the logic of the scene, this happens.
What's a gorilla doing underwater in the first place?
Good question.
Well, it's funny you should. I mean, see, George, they're onto us!
Let's get out of here.
SpongeBob is a weird show, but this has always stuck out as being just a little too weird. But knowing what we know now, I think I can explain what's going on here. This isn't a real gorilla. Every other land animal we've seen underwater wears a helmet and is drawn in a cartoony style. The gorilla is shown in a live-action style, and the only time we ever see live-action characters is when they're human. So I believe both the gorilla and the horse he rides away on are humans wearing costumes. The filmmakers set this whole thing up just to make the episode more entertaining. It's starting to seem like this isn't strictly a nature documentary anymore. It's more of a...
Yeah, it's very true. There are characters that are very big. They're only human in the show. And he does something about or maybe a Barnacle Boy used to be in Bikini Bottom also. And then I guess they moved there from the land above the water, of course. And Cyclops, that guy is probably the Cyclops from the SpongeBob movie. Might be, the narrator too. It looks like him.
Reality TV show made for entertainment. Who knows what other absurd elements of the show are actually put there by the filmmakers to make the show more entertaining and profitable. Although, based on the people's reaction, it doesn't always seem to pay off. But how far will the filmmakers go to make the show more profitable?
Saturday morning in Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob is watching his favorite Saturday morning show, The Adventures of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, enjoying a bowl of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy bland cereal, and wearing the official Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy breakfast biters.
If we think of this as a television show, this sounds an awful lot like a product placement. I mean, listen to how the narrator specifically says the full names of the products.
The Adventures of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy bland cereal, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy breakfast biters.
Why don't you let me fix you some of this new
I
cocoa
see.
drink? All natural cocoa beans from the upper slopes of Mount Nicaragua, no artificial sweeteners.
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
Maybe the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy TV show is actually from the surface world. They are human after all. It makes sense that the filmmakers would choose to highlight these popular superhero characters. The more they show, the more they're going to sell Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy merchandise. Hang on a second, why are Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy the same size as all the fish in Bikini Bottom, even though humans are always shown as massive compared to fish?
I was thinking about that before too.
Whatever, I'll come back to that one later. The show doesn't even just hide product placements. In the episode...
Yeah, that is something I've thought about before because they're actual people. Not fish, because they have something on their nose so they can breathe underwater.
Model Sponge, they literally trick SpongeBob into making a commercial for a human
that.
product.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. Director.
Very well. Lose the pants!
I remember this one.
Where's my star?
What's happening? What's happening?
In this scene, you'll be cleaning bathroom fixtures.
Okay. So where's my cleaning utensil?
You don't have any.
Don't you get it? You are the cleaning utensil.
Ooh.
High speed!
Oh no, your bathroom is a disaster. Get it cleaned up fast with the new sponge. Household chores are a snap with new sponge. It cleans sinks. Just look at that shine.
This is just like in real life how SpongeBob is such a popular character that he's used to sell tons and tons of products. So far I've shown you that the show SpongeBob SquarePants is actually a documentary television show, but the creators continually interfere to push their own agendas and make more money. But that brings us to an important question. Do the characters know they're in a television show? Let's go back to that clip where SpongeBob hits the cameraman.
It means another whole year of boarding school! What happened?
Oh,
Nothing, SpongeBob. You just struck another pedestrian.
Mrs. Puff calls him a pedestrian, which sounds more like she thinks he's just some random Bikini Bottom citizen. The different types of marine life in SpongeBob are so diverse and weird looking that it's not too hard to believe that the characters just think these filmmakers are another weird type of fish.
Wait.
And back to the...
Oops. Sorry. There's a lot of characters in that one picture, and all of them have been in the show. It's so crazy. I can recognize some of these characters too. Mostly the main ones, but we know a lot of them are all in the show. There are so many.
Of marine life in SpongeBob are so diverse and weird looking that it's not too hard to believe that the characters just think these filmmakers are another weird type of fish. And back to the gorilla episode, the gorilla and the horse immediately get nervous and run away when SpongeBob questions what's going on.
Because they're humans.
Well, it's funny you should. I mean,
because they recognize them. Yeah, because they're people, not
almost like the creators don't want the characters to be aware their lives are being interfered with. Now, there isn't a ton of footage of the characters interacting with the filmmakers, but I dug really, really deep and found the smoking gun that answers all of our questions.
What is
this
that?
is an old commercial from 2004 made to promote the SpongeBob movie.
Oh, I saw that movie before.
SpongeBob, what kind of jellyfish is that?
It's not a jellyfish, Patrick. It's a spaceship.
Oh!
Hey guys, it's Carlos from the Zone. I was wondering if you could answer a few questions.
Questions? Run for your lives!
No, Pat, don't you see? It wants to learn about our world, and it's chosen us.
What? Yay! We've been chosen.
A submarine comes down to SpongeBob and Patrick to ask questions to promote the new movie. SpongeBob and Patrick are clearly confused by this and think the submarine is some kind of alien. They also have no idea that they're the stars of a movie.
Well, thanks guys. We'll see you in the movie.
Bye!
Movie? What's that?
I know.
So I think it's pretty clear at this point that the characters are unaware their lives are being filmed and interfered with. But there are some characters that have to have some level of awareness. For example, the Dr. Fish that told the human hand to treat SpongeBob, and the Director Fish that directed the commercial for the human world. What makes these characters so special? First,
they're from out of town. That's the thing. They're not even from there. Of course, I'm gonna pick people from other places on there.
off, the Director Fish isn't actually from Bikini Bottom. Before he directed this commercial, we saw him as a citizen of New Kelp City in the episode Whatever Happened to SpongeBob. Out of all the characters they could have used, they specifically chose a character from out of town. Almost like the filmmakers didn't want to use anyone in Bikini Bottom, so they wouldn't risk everyone finding out about the television show. Then there's the Dr. Fish. We don't know where he originally came from, but he's an extremely suspicious character. Usually he's purple, but sometimes he's orange, sometimes he's purple with orange hands, sometimes he's a pirate, and he bears a striking resemblance to Dr. Manowar from the Jellyfish Convention.
And now it only hurts when you touch it.
Episode 2.
Why does he have so many different disguises and identities? What is he hiding?
Not sure.
I believe hidden throughout Bikini Bottom are spies like this, who are aware they're in a television show and keep tabs on the main characters and make sure everything goes to plan. There's so many suspicious characters in Bikini Bottom that it could literally be anyone. The mailman, the hot dog vendor, Old Man Jenkins, it could literally be anyone. But what if I told you that the biggest spy of all isn't some random side character? It's one of the main characters of the show. Someone who's been there from the very
Sandy
beginning.
for sure, I bet.
Someone who's not even from Bikini Bottom. Someone who's not even from the ocean.
Yeah, I'm right.
That's right. Sandy Cheeks.
Oh my goodness.
Sandy Cheeks is the thrill-seeking scientific squirrel from Texas who lives underwater in her trio.
True.
But why did she come to Bikini Bottom? In the episode Chimps Ahoy, we find out she was hired by a group of chimpanzees to come underwater and create inventions. But why does she need to be underwater to make inventions? She could have just as easily have made any of her inventions on land. It must be extremely expensive to maintain a giant dome of air underwater. There is no way the only reason she's here is to make random inventions. I think this whole episode is an elaborate ruse to throw off the other characters from the real reason Sandy is in Bikini Bottom. To spy on the main characters and make sure the show stays on track. Many of the times the characters are in danger, Sandy conveniently steps in to save the day, and many of the wacky, entertaining episode plots are driven by an invention Sandy creates. Everything she does is a calculated move to carry out the hidden agenda of the filmmakers. Her entire friendship with SpongeBob and the other characters is built on a lie. But you're probably saying, Sandy is a sweet, friendly squirrel. There's no
Sometimes.
way she's behind this.
Sometimes not.
You're
Sometimes
not
she
convinced
is.
yet? That's okay, because what I'm about to show you is so mind-blowing, so insanely revealing, that it's actually the whole reason I decided to make this video. Get ready for the big one. Season 10, Episode 10, Feral Friends, is the episode that unlocks this entire mystery. During a birthday party, a green moon suddenly appears and turns everyone except Sandy into less evolved, real-life versions of themselves.
That's crazy.
Sandy is completely caught off guard by this and decides to call someone for help.
I watched the episode after I saw this actually for real.
She calls.
The French narrator, Cyclops.
Hey, Frenchie, it's me, Sandy. Ah, Sandy Cheeks. How is it hanging?
Oh, it's not hanging.
That looks like the Cyclops from the SpongeBob movie. Does that make you think of that? Because it does for me. I mean, it's not the same guy probably, but it looks the same.
It's too good, Frenchie. You see, there's this...
Don't say another word. I have been monitoring the behavior of the green moon all day.
Huh, yeah, I guess that's a pretty interesting clip, yeah. Holy shit! Sandy literally calls the narrator to let him know what's going on and asks for instructions on what to do next. She has been working with him the entire fucking time. He even has a picture of her on his desk.
Sorry about that. I can't control that. It's him.
This is where I originally planned on ending the video, but there is still one small issue with the television theory. Just one nagging plot hole that contradicts everything. If this is all a television show filmed by scuba divers, then how are we seeing inside the buildings? It's not like any of the humans filming the show could fit inside them. It's the one annoying thing that keeps this theory from being complete. I mean, the most logical explanation is that they have hidden cameras inside of everyone's homes, but we never really see anything like that.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Holy shit.
Sorry again. It's
Season 6, Episode 24, Truth or Square. The SpongeBob 10th Anniversary Special where they reveal lots of stuff about the characters. But the most damning piece of evidence comes from when the characters get lost in the Krusty Krab vents and end up in a room full of monitors showing live footage of all of their homes.
Understood.
Oh, my house is on TV.
All of our houses are on TV.
Gary the snail, you get down from that bed this instant.
Hey, there's my house.
Left your TV on.
It's Sandy.
Okay, that's weird.
And who is the character responsible for all of these hidden
Mr.
cameras?
Mr. Krabs, why do you have cameras watching us?
Of course, money.
I just want to make sure you all floss after every meal.
Thank you, Mr. Krabs. Dental hygiene is very, very important.
Dental hygiene? Eugene, you lying bastard. Of course he would sell out his friends for a quick buck. And if there's any part of you that thinks there's some chance Mr. Krabs has all these hidden cameras for some other reason, then take a look at what happens next.
Hey, who are those guys?
I think it's us, Patrick. But who are they?
They've been following
Alright,
them.
they're not even trying to hide it anymore. A cameraman and a boom operator have been following around the characters this entire time.
Crazy.
And just like the gorilla, as soon as they get seen, they make a run for it. The case is closed.
Oh, wow.
The television theory is something the show has consistently alluded to from the very first episode to the newest episodes. Maybe one day the show will actually directly address it and our characters will discover the real truth about their world. But regardless, that's my theory. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more. See you next time. Hey, whoa, hang on a second. You thought I forgot about the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy thing, didn't ya? Alright, here's a quick bonus theory. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy were two superheroes that fought crime underwater and protected the sea from evil. Whether or not they actually did this or was all staged for television isn't clear, but they both spent their lives underwater until they became old and retired. But after spending so much time under the sea, they no longer fit in with human society. Plus, Mermaid Man is clearly dealing with some form of dementia and PTSD from fighting evil.
But you can't retire. There's evil afoot.
So, they decided to live the rest of their lives in Bikini Bottom. And in order to fit in better with their fellow sea creatures, they made the permanent decision to shrink themselves.
That's not actually
using Mermaid
surprising.
Man's shrinking belt. The case is closed. Again.
Well, that isn't really surprising because, I saw that one episode they did that. SpongeBob did it to everyone by accident. Shrunk everyone. And also, if they were people on the land, maybe they were superheroes up there too. From bad guys, like real life bad guys, like thieves and stuff. Other people, probably. We'll be doing, the third theory, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. The veil before 8, because it isn't really number 8. Just trying to see if, that's like 30 minutes. I'm gonna do part of it in this video.
And look at that evil smile he has as he watches her endure this.
Sorry. I didn't think I would. Nah, stupid ads. Whoops.
But you'd be very, very wrong. For years,
Third
she's been
theory,
running from
part
her
1.
dark and mysterious past.
Next video will be
Finally
part
caught up
2.
to her, and behind it all is a mastermind who's been secretly controlling her life and psychologically torturing her. If you guys thought my last 2 theories were mind-blowing, get ready for my biggest conspiracy yet. This is the Mrs. Puff
wild.
theory. I gotta start off by saying, wow, the reaction. Glad you guys are enjoying my ridiculously
It's
deep
pretty
dives
cool,
into
yeah.
the show. I mean, I have to watch so much SpongeBob.
Yeah, we are really enjoying them. We are curious how you do it, but we see like how you do it and how it all connects. You know what I mean? It all connects how he does it. I mean, I couldn't do that. I can make theories up like that too, but it would take me a lot longer probably. So I'm more better with certain other stuff, but let's get started.
I read so much of the Wikipedia to put these theories together, but it's worth it because the writers actually take the time to set these things up.
It does take
now,
time,
a
for
lot
sure.
of people have been asking, Alex, how do you come up with these crazy conspiracy
Good
theories?
question.
Well, I always start these theories by looking for the moments in the show that seem to be implying more than they're letting on. Like I've said before, SpongeBob is a weird show with lots of abstract humor, but I can usually understand the intent the writers had behind a weird joke. But then there's stuff like this. I hope I still remember how to do this.
I've seen this episode before. I did actually think about that before, but not like how I wouldn't know it from the information. I was thinking it's weird, but it was a while ago.
And it's so confusing and weird that it feels like the writers are trying to imply something beyond just weirdness for the sake of comedy. And nowhere in the show is there more of these moments than with Mrs. Puff.
Yeah.
And once I started looking into it, it led me down the deepest rabbit hole I've ever seen from this show. So, let's begin. Uh-oh. Looks like I'm getting hacked by a hacker.
Oh, no.
I knew this would happen if I got too close to the truth.
Sorry, I don't do ads.
Thing this video is sponsored by NordVPN.
All right, there we go. Let's get started. Let's see.
Mrs. Puff is a boating school teacher in Bikini Bottom. She's passed all of her students except for one, SpongeBob SquarePants. He's taken her driver's test hundreds of times, and he always ends up failing it and causing destruction and chaos that usually ends up with Mrs. Puff going to jail, despite it not really being her fault. We also know that she was once married, but her husband was killed by fishermen.
That's my driving teacher, Mrs. Puff.
Mrs. Puff? Oh, she's married.
Oh no, Mr. Krabs, she's single.
Then what happened to Mr. Puff?
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't like to talk about it.
Throughout the show, there are moments like this that seem to be hinting at her having a dark, mysterious past. And in Season 2, Episode 10, No Free Rides, we get the biggest clue about who Mrs. Puff really is.
Making noise.
After SpongeBob fails the driving test yet again, Mrs. Puff has just had it with him and ends up just giving up and giving him his license, even though he never really passed. She quickly realizes that this is a horrible idea and he'll probably end up destroying the entire town.
Seen this episode too.
So much destruction. This reporter asks, why? Local consensus places the blame on this negligent, selfish driving instructor.
Remember this clip, because it's going to be very important later on. And then she says this insanely revealing line.
What have I done? Everyone will know that I let him slide through school. I'll have to move to a new city, start a new boating school with a new name.
No, not again.
Oh yeah, I actually seen it, but I was thinking it was very bad, but I didn't actually think more than I was thinking about. I didn't actually think it led to something at the time. I was thinking, oh man, he's a criminal, but didn't know it was like that bad.
No, not again. Come on, it's like they're just begging someone to make a theory about
Yeah,
this.
true.
So we now know Mrs. Puff was originally from a different town, she used to own a different boating school, and Mrs. Puff isn't even her real name. There's something in her past that she ran away from. Now, there's been some debate over whether she's actually referring to a new name for herself or for her boating school, but I do think she's talking about her own name, because if she's trying to run away from something in her past, she wouldn't start a new boating school with her real name in the title. Now, when she says again, I don't think she's just referring to starting a new life.
Everyone will know that I let him slide through school.
Not again.
I think at her previous boating school, she had a terrible student just like SpongeBob who she prematurely gave a license
True.
to, and it led to something so terrible happening that she had to run away and start a whole new life. In Season 3, Episode 5, Doing Time, we get a flashback to when she first opened up the school.
On that episode, it was insanely confusing me.
With the opening of my new boating school, I pledge that as long as a student is willing to learn, I shall never give up.
Hi, I'm SpongeBob SquarePants.
With the opening of this new boating school, let's keep in mind that this is not her first boating school. Maybe the whole reason she's making this pledge now at her second school is because she gave up on a student at her previous school, and that led to her having to run away and start a new life. She's pledging to never make the same mistake again. Now let's skip ahead to one of the newer episodes. Season 12, Episode 21.
I never seen that one, actually.
Where Mrs. Puff has SpongeBob organize all the stuff she keeps in the school's lighthouse. There's lots of interesting things hidden in the background, but the first thing that caught my eye was this file labeled Mrs. Puff.
Yeah.
It makes sense for a teacher to have files on all their students, but why would she have a file about herself?
Good
But let's
question.
remember, she's not Mrs. Puff. That's a fake identity she created. And I'm willing to bet all of her fake identification documents are in this file. Back in No Free Rides, she just gives SpongeBob a license that she already had for him. So she clearly makes these licenses and would probably